record. All right. So here we are on our week number 5. This is our work group practice session number 2, which is on Tuesday mornings at 7 a.m. Today we're going to be talking about the client story call, which usually happens somewhere after they're in fat burn, somewhere between day 7 and day 10. And the goal of this particular call is to connect them with our community. You have had them in a 3-way messenger message with your mentor coach. And so they've met your mentor coach through text conversation, but they haven't actually had a face-to-face interaction. So this meeting is designed to build more warmth into our health coach community, give them another layer of support, make it more personable, and to reinforce our cornerstones, the 4 different components of our Optavia program. And those particular 4 components are health coach, habits of health, system, community, healthy community, and how to fuel your body properly. Those are the 4 components that Optavia deploys in order to have lifelong transformations, one healthy habit at a time. And so, good morning, Troy. How are you this morning?
I'm great. So as we kind of look at boot camp week number 5, really practice, the one thing I always look at, Craig, is that, is your systems in check? So look at where you're at, look at how far you've come, and think about the things that you have created, and have you started putting that into your coaching business? And what I mean by that is that just like we went over the 3-way messenger, a lot of us kind of stumbled across that, or I should say stumbled through it, right? But have we perfected it to where we feel comfortable with using it? Because a lot of times we'll learn a new skill and we won't be comfortable enough, so we won't use it. Oh yeah, that's great, and then we'll move on. So always remember that as you are participating in the boot camp and in the practice, are you really utilizing these tools and then utilizing them in your business? So it is a big change in the way of how you look at that. So just be very, I always kind of say, cross the T's, dot the I's with everything you do, because as you are learning and you're learning these new skills, you want to teach your team. And trust me, if you do it this way, you will have a team if you don't have one now. Mm-hmm. So, which is great, because this is being mindful of where you're at. And when I always look at any of these coaches that are on the line right now or on the Zoom right now, you all have a separate business. And when you really take action to your business grows. But if we just kind of in that oscillating pattern, and as we look at our business thinking, okay, we're not growing. Well, why is that? There's certain things in your business that probably need to be changed a little to where you're able to grow. Because, as I look at Craig and actually I look at the Miller organization, there's a lot of things that they're doing that is working. And that's why one of the things why we're having these boot camps and things, because what they're doing is working. So we want to piggyback off of that and really want to utilize that to where we can show you guys how that could work in your business.
One of the things Troy just mentioned too, imagine the first time you learned to tie your shoes. Remember back that day a long time ago, right? It was a long time ago, probably. Well, imagine if you tied your shoes once and then you waited a month and then you decided to tie them again. You probably would have forgotten how to do it. And so, but imagine if you tied your shoes 3 times a day for 1 week. You probably would never need to learn how to tie your shoes again, because you just had it. And so the person that doesn't take the time to practice up front never actually learns the skill. And the person that does like lean into it and do the practice learns it. And now it's in you. Now there's not a lot of effort in learning how to do it. You just know how to do it. So did anybody see my head? See that? Max headroom right there.
Pretty crazy, dude.
Anyway, so as we're learning these types of skills, they may seem cumbersome at first. And so is learning to ride a bike, tying your shoe, all those things when it's a new skill. If it feels cumbersome, you're doing it right because it's new. You don't know it yet. And so learn how to do it. And the systems and structure that the Miller organization have put into place it feels weighty at first until you build those new muscles. But then you fast forward 6 months and you look back at your business and you look at all this structure and all this this stability. And I don't know about you, but I'm sure you're like me. And when it comes to income, being predictable and having stability is never a bad thing, as long as it's growing, I guess.
Hey, Craig, one thing real quick too, is that I would like to know that everybody's on this morning, that what is maybe one of your biggest hurdles? And what I mean by that is that as we look at, we're in week 5, right? So we've done 5 weeks of different trainings and different skills. I would love to know what is the one that you're really having the trouble with, because we have a small enough crowd here to where we can maybe talk about that. Because it's, I don't want to go through all 6 weeks and then, there's a few of you like, I didn't really get much of that.
Well, or next week is going to be a jump ball kind of a thing,
right,
where we are going to spend the whole time working through.
Well, I would like to know, just within maybe spend 5 minutes within just a couple people. What is it that what is it that really you're struggling with the tools that you've learned so far? And anybody just kind of speak up, because I'm always curious to see what is, as we look at this. And Leanne has her hand up, so we're gonna let her go.
For me, it's that initial contact. Okay, what are you doing? How much does it cost? Because they have their guard up and I kind of freeze.
Okay.
Yesterday.
Okay. So that's good. So as we look at what Leanne just asked, basically, is that she's at a point to where, and I know where Leanne's business is. She's growing like crazy. She's really doing a lot of cool things. And, sometimes we hit that stumbling point. Maybe we had a lot of yeses, right? And then we get to a point to where it's like, well, how much does it cost? And they're just drilling us, right? And we're just like, oh, okay, so what do I do at that point? One thing is, do we ask a lot of questions? And what I mean by that is that as people are asking us things, we got to know more about them, because it's not one size fits all. So we've got to learn okay, so tell me a little bit about more what you want to create, because it just doesn't go off. I mean, they could have a 501, the 4-2, the 3-3, the nursing mothers program, the diabetes program. I mean, so there's different programs for each person, right? So that's one thing that we need to really understand of where a person is at, so we can understand how we can help them. And price does come up, but what's interesting is that each person has their own mindset of, well, what I can afford, or, hey, I'm not eating food, I'm eating top ramen every day. And that's why my food bill is only $3 a day. So go ahead, Vonna, you wanted to talk in with that too.
She's talking about what, the initial thing. It's not when you're talking to the person, it's when they have filled out maybe your well-being evaluation and then said, hey, I mean, this is through text and that,
Okay.
It's too, I can't afford $400 a month.
Okay.
That's what she's talking about. It's not like, that you're talking to them, and getting information out of them.
It's not face to face. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Let's table that particular topic, and that's going to be a lively topic for this coming Saturday, and we're going to dive into that because that's a very common one, and
Yep.
sometimes you can talk through that and help uncover some things, and sometimes you just can't. There's just too many roadblocks in someone's.
I thought she was going to give me a softball. Leanne, jeez.
Way to go, Leanne. Let's bring it back and kind of focus it down, that because that is the one, the question as you're building your business. And Troy and I still we get objections that are cost related, and so establishing enough value that you can overcome that is something we all need to learn to do. And sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't. We'll go into that detail. For those of you that have been doing this client integration call or worked through it, what are you discovering? Any challenges or hiccups, resistance in your own mind, or successes? Let's jump into that and talk a little bit about that. Mr. Pettit, please.
So been very successful in establishing some structure. It's always nice to top on a celebration call. I think we all know that, and really celebrate some folks and find out a little more in depth, really what their whole focus is. And so adding some structure around that is crucial. I know for me, because if I wing it, it'll be a 45-minute call because I'm a talker. I learned that from someone, Troy. And so the biggest thing is having that structure and knowing that, okay, it's going to do this and 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 this, and it's the same process, duplicatable, means that not only is it easy for me to do it as a mentor, but easy for me to teach it to the team. And it's so easy to grasp when it comes to those people doing the sponsoring themselves and some mentoring themselves. And that I love that.
Imagine, Chris, if we didn't have the Optavia guide where we walked through the 5 and 1, and you were teaching someone how to do the lean and greens, you're just kind of winging it. Well, I think you can have turkey. Thanks for that. But it's written down in this book because it's the same thing every time. And with the structure of our support, we want it to be like a quick start guide. This is just, and I want to give you some perspective too, for those of you that may be feeling a little bit of overwhelm. Setting the cornerstones straight happens in the first month. Not much new happens after the first month. Really, the first week, like 2 weeks before they start and 2 weeks after they start, is where the intense coaching happens. And you get a lot of stuff locked and loaded, and you will be surprised at the difference over time. So you're going to see more coaches awaken because there's something to awaken to, right? They see a structure, they see a process. They're like, ooh, I can see I can fit in there, versus chaos and random. Yeah. Who else has anybody else have a highlight or a takeaway? This is our third or fourth boot camp, and so this particular client story call isn't new. The formula of when we have it's been around for a few years, but it doesn't happen by accident. This call you have to set up, and it's a little bit of work. And so some of us, when we're starting, just the skill of getting 3 people at the same place at the same time is tricky, isn't it?
And Craig, remember too that as we kind of look, if we're utilizing as a well, if I did a couple yesterday with a couple of my coaches that brought in a new client, and so we started the dialogue in Messenger, and then we already kind of set that so-called cornerstone for that first week, and we want to via video in Messenger. So, it's instead of a surprise, we've already planned it out strategically to where, that this is what's going to happen. So as we look at that, when we come to that point, right? And it depends on, if you're the coach or whichever part you are, if you're mentor, mentor has a lot more role in this, right? the coach kind of just introduces. So what I really love about this, Craig, is that as we look at utilizing and perfecting it, right? It's never going to be really perfect, but it gets better and better and better. There's that learning curve to where it's like, okay, well, I'm not really comfortable, but you will get comfortable. It's kind of like on the program, you weren't comfortable at the beginning, but as you got through it and maybe even past a couple weeks, you're like, hey, this is easy.
I was just thinking about doing a quick little test.
Craig, I don't do well at tests, man.
No, it's not really a test. It's doing an example, and I'm going to see Joell. Joel.
Don't make me sweat here, Craig.
Yep, and Lauren King. Let's see here. We're going to see if this works. I think it will.
Are you saying this is something new, Craig?
Lauren King. Is it Lauren Rotwig? Rotwig? No. Lauren King Lawless? No. Maybe I'm not friends with you. Don't take it personally.
It's just Lauren. Well, it is Rotwick King, but that's my Facebook name.
That's what I'm looking at. Yep.
Yes.
Good. So I just want to make sure I'm about to invite the right person to a meeting.
Great.
JACQ, Jacqueline Matrenga. There you are. I think I got just about everybody that's on here, and I'm going to go test. So I just created a big Facebook group, and I'm going to share this on the screen here. So I have this group that I just created, and then you have to put all the people's names in there, and then you have to type something in order to lock that group together. So I just did test. Now I'm going to go up here and I'm going to push this little button, and it's going to say start. If I mouse over it, start a group video chat, right? And this is one of the ways that you would do. You have the three-way messenger going, and then you say, hey guys, we're going to meet. Let's meet Tuesday morning at 7:23. Yeah, let's do it. And so this message was already there, and then you just go up and you click on this little button, and then let me share the screen, and I'll show you what's actually going to happen.
And remember, it's up to 12. I believe it's up to 12. You can do it one time. Craig,
Is that what it is? Yep. So
Yeah.
we're going to see if this works. We'll probably break the internet because we're doing double video, but let's try it. So then it brings this up and it says, who do you want to call? I want to call everybody.
Now, see, it doesn't prompt that when you're on your iPhone.
Phone. This
Yeah.
is on the computer. Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm going to click call. It brings up this new little window here. Please allow access to my, okay, I did that. And now it's calling all of you.
You see that, everybody?
Look at that. You see it? I want to point out two things. One is, do you see how hard that was? Not.
Not hard at all.
Right? I just clicked that one window, or one little button, and now everybody's joining us. And so this is how you can do a three-way call to do this client integration meeting right now. All right. Anyway, you guys, hopefully that was a simple enough demo that you could see. I didn't have to install Zoom. I didn't have to do anything crazy. The three-way messenger message was already created, and I just clicked on the little.
That's why, Craig, I love how that works, because how many of your clients get all kind of fumbled up, oh, Zoom, and then they come on, they can't figure out their camera, they can't figure out their voice. Oh, I don't have a camera on my computer, or I don't have audio on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
I can see you, you can see me, but I can't talk.
Yeah.
So this really gets the whole situation out of the, almost everybody has a smartphone. So, right? So you can do this. Just make sure that Messenger is downloaded for them so you could utilize the texting and as you're working with that.
And that should already be set up. ideally. Now, if they don't have Messenger or Facebook, that wouldn't have worked. But I'm just showing you how that happened. It's on the recording now. You just click that little thing. Chris, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
I was just going to point out this is another reason why we want to use Messenger instead of texting, because you can't do that with a bunch of iPhones and a bunch of Droids connected through text.
Right.
Through like Facebook Messenger, which is awesome.
So we're talking about setting a cornerstone upon technology that we've seen around the corner, and we've seen that if you do it this way, you won't run into a roadblock because people have come before you. So if you're not familiar with doing a three-way video chat, what's stopping you from getting familiar? Do one today.
One thing too, Craig, is that as you look at any of your clients that maybe they don't have Facebook, you know how quick it is for them to set up even private. They don't have to be friends with a bunch of people, but they can make it private, and that way they could utilize the tools that we have, so they're able to basically kind of move forward and really move forward in their health. Because sometimes we have people that just aren't on Facebook. But if they're open to the idea of saying, hey, you can be private, nobody else needs to know that you're on Facebook, a lot of times they'll say, okay, yeah, that sounds good, because I got rid of Facebook because of whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. Lauren, you had your hand up.
So, so there was a time when we had Facebook, and then they made us download Instant Messenger. That was a few years back. So if they have Facebook and we do Instant Messenger through Facebook, do they have to download that app separate? You know,
on the phone, they're two separate apps,
but not on the computer.
They're combined.
Okay.
I mean, you can go to messenger.com, and that's kind of separate. But if they've got Facebook on their computer, they've got it.
I had a Zoom situation yesterday where I had a set up a three-way call, and I had actually been to my client's house and showed her how to use the Zoom. And we dialed in, but then she had no microphone. So is that because she was on her phone? So is that because she didn't click the use internet audio button?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to have to go over
very common.
Yeah.
But hey, Lauren, one thing too is that breaking the ice with the Messenger, it's to where people aren't as challenged, and they're like, oh, this is easy. And so then they move to Zoom, and it's not as cumbersome. So I
haven't had one workout yet where I've had a client that actually, so it's like I get all this excited about all this stuff, and then boom, I can't get it to work. So
that's why we're using Messenger a lot more.
Everybody grab their pen, and here's your one of your assignments to do today in the next 24 hours is to do a three-way Facebook Messenger video chat. So you can pick whoever you want. You can pick Troy and I if you want, right? You can, pick whoever's just a couple, maybe one of your coaches. Maybe pick if you have coaches or even clients, and just make sure there's 3 people in there, and start a chat, and then click on the little video thing and just say, hey, I wanted to test something out to see if it works. You have a minute. And then try it out. Do it a couple times. Don't wait till the first time you need it to do it. Right? Because then you're scrambling and it's not so fun. So now we're going to jump in. I put in the chat window for everybody to see is the, let's see here. This is the Facebook or the Google Doc with the script. And what we're going to do is you're going to have 3. So let me slow down a second. That thing I just had you write down is for sometime later, right? Put it out of your mind for now. That's just something you're going to do in the future. Right now, we're going to actually do what you would do in that 3-way Facebook Messenger, but we're on Zoom. So we're going to go into breakout rooms, and we're going to practice the client story script. It's really about integrating the client. So it's client integration, where we're going to go through the components of what we do and reiterate our components, reiterate referrals, talk about community, that kind of stuff.
Hey Craig, this is the exciting part. So as we break out in these rooms, one thing is that even if you're on a mobile device, that's okay. You can be a part of it, because it's what I find is that anybody that comes into these work groups and they feel like, well, I'm okay, and then they bow out. Well, that's the big part of this, is actually practicing. So be understanding that, okay, you're not going to get it right at the first, but let's keep practicing. Let's keep doing this.
Yep. And so we're going to break out into groups. One person's going to be the client. One person's going to be the sponsor coach. One person's going to be the mentor coach. The mentor coach does the majority of the work. So have the mentor coach be the least experienced person on the call. Just get used to being a mentor coach. It'll look good on you, right? And so within the first minute, first 30 seconds, you're going to pick your roles and you're going to get set and you're going to go. When the client is saying, tell me a little bit about your goals, just keep it short. You don't need to actually embellish or really go wild with that. The role that is mainly focusing on here is the mentor coach, walking them through, stopping, asking a few questions. And so hopefully you guys can all get a chance to be the mentor coach, because that's the one that does the majority of the work. But none of that really happens in a cohesive way if the coach doesn't do the introduction properly. Hey, Rita, I want you to meet Joelle, right? Joelle's been helping me. She's my personal coach. It's been such a support, and I wanted the two of you to meet so that you can see that you have more than just me that's part of your support team. Boom. And you stop talking. And then you let the mentor coach do their thing. All right? So Troy, if you want to be in one of the groups, you can. Otherwise, you need to get log out for a second. All right, so breakout rooms, 2 to 3 people per room. There we go. And create rooms. All right, so get after it. Get working quickly, guys. Sorry about that. I had 2 people in a bunch of rooms, so I need to recreate the rooms.
I was like, wow, that was fast.
Was that a quick 15 minutes or what? Yeah. Hope you got a lot out of that. They'll be back here in 20 seconds. I guarantee it. They're like, what? What are they calling us back for? Amateur hour. Here they come. 5, 4. You can tell who all's been paying attention. Here they come. Recreate. Hey, how was it?
What happened?
Awesome session, Craig.
Well, I had a bunch of rooms with only 2 people in them, and so I figured I would fix that.
Wait a minute. You just moved me to another room?
I moved everybody back to the main room because I needed to create the room.
I was just getting Joelle's story.
Sorry, you guys are awesome. All right, you guys can hop in these rooms.
Okay.
The lean and green, just post it and you'll be getting answers right away. So that's a really good support for you. And then the 4th one is to live your journey out loud. Share what you're doing with your friends and your family, and they're going to be the most supportive of you, and they will want to know what you're doing, and it's going to make things a lot easier, like if you're going out to dinner or to a family gathering and they know what's going on, they're going to support you and make things easier for you, and then you'll be able to tell them what you're doing, and that's pretty special. I want you to know that your coach is there to celebrate with you and to make this the most wonderful experience for you, because it truly is. And I'm just really grateful for what it's done in my life, and I want you to have that same success also. Okay, so here comes the big quiz. Can you tell me the 4 things that are going to help you along your way?
Sure. So you told me that I should stay connected with my coach, stay in touch with Angela, and then you're telling me there's some exercises, some habits in that book I got, the Habits of Health book, and some exercises I should be doing there. Okay.
Yes.
And then
And also reading the Habits of Health, Dr.
reading it. Okay, reading it and doing the exercises. And then the community, our Facebook group, I can ask questions there also.
Mhm.
And tips. And then
Yo.
They're nailing it.
Yo.
Leanne's doing a great job. She's following the script really well. And
Oh, she gets it, man.
yeah. All right, sports fans. How'd that feel? We just got about 3 minutes left here, but how did that feel, Rita? How'd it go? A little better? A little smoother? Oops, I can't.
My volume goes down on my Zoom. I got to check before I get on because it automatically goes down, so they couldn't hear me. So, but
You can turn off the auto.
Okay.
Turn off the auto and just always keep it to the far right.
Oh gosh, right.
Or put headphones in and you're good.
Well, because there might be a little bit of a hum in your room, and so it slowly mutes itself, right?
Oh, okay, got
Just
it.
turn off the auto volume. But
So
yeah, how did it go?
How did everybody do? How did we
Now,
do?
the thing that I noticed on Saturday and today is sometimes they judge themselves on reading this, but when they don't think about it and they just read it and follow the outline, they don't stumble. They really do quite well. And I think that's where we need to trust ourselves, because I always have this. I know it, but I have it because I'll go sideways like Chris. But when you don't judge, they don't know you're reading it. It's just you're in it and you're getting the rhythm going, and they can follow the outline that way. Otherwise, they can't track. As a client, I can't track if they don't follow the outline. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, there's things you have in your control and there's things you don't have in your control. What you do have in your control is you can practice that 10 times today.
Right.
You can read that 100 times today. No, nothing's stopping you but you. What you're going to do probably is wait until you're actually in a real-time live situation and you read it for the first time, and then you'll bomb.
Right? Then you'll be like, why didn't
imagine if an actor got up on stage and he's ready to they go action and he's reading it for the first time. I know you think that's crazyville. They would never do that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know what? You don't have to be perfect. And one thing is, I usually say, I have said at the beginning when I started this, I have said, listen, we're learning how to help our clients a better way. And so you might see me reading something because I'm learning this new system. And so, when you do that and you go, oh, hold on, and then I got to tell you this. So, you're going to learn it, but you're not going to be perfect. Give yourself some slack and just be natural, because that's what's going to help you get through this. It's not like, you missed that line or you forgot, you're going to get better as you go along.
Yeah. So what you said, Vane, just there's a concept that we all have, that the client thinks that a coach shouldn't read a checklist, right? Who said that?
Yeah.
Who came up with that? Do you know that pilots who fly multiple times every day work through a checklist? Does anybody look in the cockpit and go, what are you guys, like amateurs? Like, what are you still reading that list for? Haven't you done that a million times? That nobody says that. So what's the why do we think that we can't read from a list and do it every single time always? Pilots do.
Yeah.
It's a pride thing in each one of us that we think we have to be perfect. But the client doesn't know anything. They don't know what the expectation is. You set the expectation. I wouldn't even have to say, well, I'm reading from a list because I'm learning this. It's just, how about if it's just what you do? You read from a list. Why? Because you don't want to miss anything because they're that important. How about for that concept?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's good because I think, like, I have a lot of clients who are my friends, and so they won't sit there and let me, I don't know, ask them questions. They like to jump to me. Oh, so how's it going with you? How's your son? How's your husband? You know, so it's, I think I just need to say, hey, I'm just learning how to be here for you.
Yeah, and you know what? Put that. You know, one thing real quick is that put everything else aside and say, hey, I'm here to coach you. This is our 5 minutes. Let's talk about it. And then after that, after we're done, so they understand how duplicatable that is. Instead of if you're talking for a half an hour because this family member or whatever you're talking about, then they say, well, you talk to me for like 20 minutes each week. That's too much.
Right. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Yeah.
Go ahead, Rita. Go ahead.
Well, a couple things on that. When I have a lot of people that are friends, I say, okay, this is time 5 minutes for you coaching. Now I want to talk about your son and I'm going to tell you about that, but can we do that at another time? Because I'm working right now and I've got to make sure I get everybody in. So you keep that separate. But I have a thing that I look at that I read. It says, you're born to be real, not to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what we're doing here is being real.
Mm-hmm.
So.
We can be real and we can also be professionals too.
Right.
But we're not going to be perfect.
Right.
Yep. Awesome, guys. Well, hopefully you so the assignment is to do a 3-way Facebook Messenger video chat with any 3 people you choose, you and 2 others. Just do that today. Test it out. See how the software works. And see what if you can get it to work and make your mistakes in practice. You know that a mistake, right? Right? It's like you have a take, like in film, it's mistake. It's a mistake. So what do? You do it over. And you do it over and you do it over. And pretty soon there's no mistake. It's just a take. Right? So get over yourself. Give yourself some grace to grow. And watch for the concepts that you don't even see that you have, because there's a concept that we have to get it perfect. And if we're reading from something, we must be amateurs. Pilots are not amateurs, right? And they read from stuff all the time. So practice 3-way messenger, right? And video, and then practice reading this script a few times so that you have a familiarity with it. You may always read from it. I give you permission to always read from your script if you want. Okay. We'll see you guys on Saturday. This is the final week. And so it's going to be a jump ball where we do quiz the coach. Think about your questions that come up between now and Saturday. What is the stuff that you're struggling with? What's the things that we taught you during these 6 weeks that you're having success over? What are the things that you still need some work on? Because if you come and you're like, oh, I don't know anything, you'll be put on the spot and you won't know anything. So write them down now. What's the stuff that you've practiced and it's working well? What's the stuff you still need help with? All right, you guys, we'll see you Saturday morning. Take care, everybody.